Welcome to Mishna study Masechet Eruvin Perek Chet Mishnah Bet. Over here in this Mishnah, we're going to discuss how much food is needed for the Eruv Techomin that we mentioned last Mishnah. So, kama ushura, how much do you need to set aside for the Eruv Techomin? Kimzon shte seudot dekol echad ve'echad. You need 2 meals for each and every person. Mezonot lahol avalol Shabbat. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir comes and says it needs to be the amount of food you eat on a weekday, not necessarily on Shabbat. And Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda Omer the Shabbat abadol lahol. No, it needs to be the amount of food you're eating on Shabbat, not on a weekday. Right? It's interesting because the Mishnah continues and says, Elu va'elu mitkavenim la'akil. Both of them, both these opinions, are intending to be mekil. So how are they both being mekil? So when it comes to Rabbi Meir, right? Rabbi Meir is saying that a person eats more food on Shabbat. So therefore, I'm going to take the weekday measurement. Rabbi Yehuda, though, right? Why does a person eat more on Shabbat? Because he has dips, right? He's eating tahina, avocado. He's eating with his bread, so he's going to have more bread on Shabbat. So therefore, on a weekday, there's less food. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, on Shabbat, a person eats less because he eats less bread because there's so many other things around. There's fruits, there's drinks, right? He's not going to have that much more bread, so therefore it's a smaller amount, right? So they both really want to be makil, but the point over here is you're going to take the smaller amount of a meal. Now, Rabbi Yochanan ben Omer, he's going to qualify how much he needs. He says, it needs to be a loaf of bread that you buy for 1 pundion, right, which is an amount of money, right, which is a 48th of a selah. Right, when you're buying 4 se'ah worth of flour at the rate of a selah. How much does this come out to? I'm not going to go through the entire thing right now. I'll mention it at the end of the Mishnah, but it comes out to 6 beitzah. 2 meals come out to 6 beitzah. Okay. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon argues and says, no, it needs to be 2/3 of a bread. When you buy, right, when you get 3 loaves of bread from 1 kav. Right, so these 2 su'udot come out to 2/9 of a kav. According to the Rabbi Yochanan ben Meroka, it was coming out to 1/8, but 2 su'udot would be 2/8. Over here is 2/9, right? So they're very close to each other. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Meroka was 6 beitzah. Rabbi Shimon is 5 1/3 beitzah. Now, continuing on, Hatzia lebayit menuga. By the way, halacha is going to be like Rabbi Yochanan ben Meroka. Hatzia lebayit menuga. If a person walks into a house with tzarat, right? How long does it take for this person's clothes to become tameh? It takes the amount of times amount of time it takes for a person to eat half a loaf of bread, right? To eat a half a loaf of bread, it comes out to. Right, this would come out to 3 beitzah. This is what we call achilat pras. Pras literally means half, so he's having half a piece of bread, right? That's achilat pras, and then his clothing become tameh, right? This is what the pasuk says. A person eats in the home, he has to wash his clothes, right? He doesn't have to necessarily eat, but he has to wait in the home the amount of time it takes for him to eat. And half of that, half of a half, right? A quarter of that, right? So it's going to be a beitzah and a half, in order to be posel l'kiviyah, meaning if a person eats foods that are tameh, right? His body becomes tameh in order to be posel tinuma. Right? If he touches tinuma, you make that tinuma pasul, as we'll see in Masechet Tarot. And this is what we say when it comes to lifsol t'piyah, it's 1.5 beitzah. Now, just how to get to the measurements that we mentioned. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Meroka says, when it comes to the kikar b'pundion, when you're buying 1 loaf of bread for a pundion, how much is a pundion? Well, we said a selah has 4 dinar, right? So a dinar is a quarter, right, of the selah, and the pundion. Right, the pundion itself, we know there's 6 ma'ah in a dinar, and each ma'ah has 2 pundion. So the pundion ends up being a 48th of a selah. Now, when it comes to the volume, that's the monetary, that's the currency measurement. What about the volume measurement when it comes to the wheat, the flour? So a se'ah, we know, has 6 kav. So 4 se'ah, if he's buying 4 se'ah in a selah, then you get half a kav for a pundion, right? Just do the math. You get half a kav for one pundion. Half a kav is how many betzah? Well, one kav is 24 betzah, so half a kav is 12 betzah, right? So technically it should be 12 betzah. The only thing, though, is that we didn't take into account the salary that the baker needs to take. The baker is taking off 50% because that's how much it takes for him to go ahead and, for him to bake it, to provide the wood, for the whole process. So he's going to take half of that. Half of that is going to come out to 6. So he left with 6 betzah. That's according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroka. Rabbi Shimon says it's 2/3 of a loaf of bread. When you buy, when 3 loaves of bread come out to 1 kav. Right? So if you do the measurement, so 1 loaf of bread comes out to 1/9 of a kav. Two seudot are 2 loaves of bread, so it's 2/3. Right? So that's the way it works. Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroka ends up being 1/8 is a seudah, and Rabbi Shimon says that 1/9 of a kav is a seudah. And as we mentioned, halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroka.